Do you remember the show House? A show in which a doctor with a terrible attitude and a drug problem was so highly respected by his co-workers and his supervisors for the quality of care that he provided? Well, the truth is, a huge part of my generation went into healthcare based solely on this show because we thought that's what healthcare is going to be like. But it couldn't be further from the truth. If we were actually to compare any doctor to what is happening in modern healthcare now, it will be Dr. Kelslow from Scrubs. Somebody who is so driven by patient satisfaction from the people who he is getting the most money from that he saw that as above all else important. And that is what is happening in hospitals now. And as our generation, it's only going to keep getting worse and worse. But it wasn't until just recently that hospitals even started looking at patient satisfaction. It wasn't until 2007 where Medicare and Medicaid sent out this HAPS survey in which hospitals are getting graded in 18 different areas based on these areas they're getting reimbursed up to 1% of everything they're getting from Medicare and Medicaid. And Taylor and Hawk write in their article, What's Wrong with Keeping Hospitals Happy, that actually up to 30% of everything that they are getting reimbursed for is based on patient satisfaction, and only 70% of what the hospitals are focusing on is the actual quality of the care they are providing. And that's a little alarming because hospitals have such a narrow operating margin, which Guadagnino writes in his article, Patient Satisfaction Critical to Hospital Value Based Purchasing Program, that 20% of physicians reported having their job threatened due to the outcomes of these surveys, and as much as 30% of them are actually starting to look at employment elsewhere outside of the hospital because of the pressure behind these scores. But in reality, having some amount of patient satisfaction is not unreasonable at all. The rate of surgeons performing surgeries on the wrong patient or the wrong body part or doing the wrong surgery altogether is actually alarmingly high. And in Stahel et al., they write in their article, The Fifth Anniversary of the Universal Protocol, that in 2004 the Joint Commission published this new Universal Protocol in which the surgeons have to do a pre-surgery verification process. They actually have to mark the body part that they're doing the surgery on, and they have to take a timeout before they actually start the surgery, but the whole surgical team is already there, in which case they are still going to go over that they're doing the right surgery on the right body part on the right patient. And this is not followed, surgeons have a chance of actually even losing their medical license. But within a 30-month period in the state of Pennsylvania, 31 people, even after this universal protocol, still got the surgery on the wrong body part. So that is something that should have a huge influence in patient satisfaction. But that's not exactly what the HAPS survey is looking at all. The HAPS survey focuses on things like how quiet it was outside of the patient's room, or how much time the doctors and the nurses spent with the patient, how courteous and respectful they were, and things that are mostly just opinion based, not actual solid fact based. But with our generation kind of having higher and higher demands for patient satisfaction, it's only going to get harder for hospitals to meet these goals. And Fur actually writes in his article, Why Isn't Healthcare Ready for Millennials?, that our millennial generation is one of instant gratification. That is one of our biggest characteristics as a generation. We are a lot more likely to shop around for a doctor who has the soonest appointment, or one that has the biggest ratings based on patient satisfaction, or things that really don't really play a role in the quality of the care that you're providing whatsoever. But as of April, there are actually more of us than there are baby boomers. So this is something that hospitals are playing a huge role into because they're trying to keep our generation happy. But in a study in 2014, they surveyed a certain number of physicians, and more than half of them actually said that they are prescribing unnecessary antibiotics and unnecessary pain pills just to keep patient satisfaction up. Because people go into the hospital or an appointment and they're saying, "Oh, I searched online and this is what I have and this is what I need for it," and that's actually undermining the years and years of training that doctors go through. But with our generation leading the trends in healthcare, it is only going to keep getting worse and worse. Um, Sproul writes in his article about the six trends of an era of consumer-driven healthcare that there's a lot more transparency now than there was before, which could be a good thing and a bad thing. But because of this transparency, we also need to be so careful with actually doing our research and our surgeons being qualified and our patients knowing exactly what they're getting. Because what's going to happen is that our doctor with a Disney attitude and a smile on their face when they walk in there could actually kill us. And here's my next card. Thank you.